by a silver-haired old lady with a honk if you love Jesus sticker on the bumper of her car.
We have a regular segment of the show where we like to let out a collective cry, a moan, a sense that things in the world are not the way they're supposed to be. We call that the Cripes, the come on, and you've got to be kidding me. Mm-hmm. The Minnesota way, the curmudgeon, the curmudgeon confession, when people have to yell out because there's things in this world that aren't the way they're supposed to be.
They're not, no.
And we have choices to make about that.
We do.
We don't have to sit and take it.
No, we don't.
No. We sometimes have to let it out.
Got to.
And the call is it's a howl.
It is.
It's a howl like the wolves that are calling others together. We're calling other people to join with us in saying there's things in this world that are broken.
That's right.
And we don't have to live with them. So we give it a Cripes and a come on, you got to be kidding me. And then we have a choice to make. Mm-hmm. Are we going to live with that? Is that it? Are we done?
What? No, huh? What? Not me.
Is that all we got?
Not me, Doug.
Or are we going to do something about it? Are we going to make the world that we want?
Oh, that's too much work.
Are we going to be the change that we want to see in the world? Well, it's not easy. The sidekick just said to me this morning, we were talking about a project, and he said, I could do that if it was easy. Put that in the job description.
I would be more than willing to do
job
that.
You're applying for. Something easy.
Right. Yeah.
Something I could do. Mm-hmm. All right, so we let out a Cripes, and I come on, you got to be kidding me. And I was flipping through the news briefs here this week, and I ran across an article that I'll tell you, it terrified me, and I let out a verbal Cripes right there in my own living room. Headline: Workers find a 16-foot python that had just eaten an adult deer.
What?
16-foot python.
Where?
In the Everglades of Florida. But here's what was scary. Hardin, the fellow who captured it, said he had recently consumed a 76-pound female deer, and he said it's important to capture these kinds of animals to help stop their spread further north. That's when it dawned on me. I'm glad winter's coming.
Yeah.
It keeps the 16-foot pythons away. A 16-foot-long python that can eat a 76-pound deer.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean... Oh, Cripes. The thing, it just shouldn't be like that. I mean, this isn't Land of the Lost, right? Shouldn't be wandering around with a 16-foot-long python.
To get to 16 feet, it must have eaten a lot of deer in its time. Deer, manatees, game wardens.
And here's the thing, they just stumble across this guy. If he hadn't had a deer in his belly, he probably would have slithered off and gotten away. You think, what kind of world do we live in where there's 16-foot pythons?
It's radiation, I believe.
It's unbelievable. It's like genetically modified pythons. I'm glad our little herpes monkey didn't run into this guy.
Yeah, that's right. And this is day 13 of the herpes monkey freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that he's as free as we think he is. I think he might be inside of a giant python. Hey, 13 days ago, folks, if you don't remember, the animals were let free from that
private reserve.
Private reserve. Is that what they call it? A private reserve?
Yeah.
Really?
Other than a wild,
right there.
exotic animal hoarder.
Yeah. Other than a crazy man keeping animals at his house. I thought a private reserve was like some guy that kept nice wine in his basement. Well, let me take you downstairs to my private reserve.
Yeah, somehow I don't think that was going on.
Private animal reserve.
Probably a lot of wine drinking.
So there's some things you have to yell Cripes about. And one of those things is that the fact that there exists a 16-foot-long python that can eat a 76-pound deer.
Yes.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And there's things in this world that make you say, come on.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my come on. So I was making some French press coffee the other day. I've got this nice double-walled stainless steel French press coffee maker. But the coffee that I was using was too finely ground. Okay, so don't call in and tell me you got to have coarse ground coffee. I know that. I just didn't have any.
And because of your desperation, you still wanted to use the wrong coffee inside of your press.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this stuff was like ground to powder. But anyway, so you put the water in there, you put the coffee in there, you kind of stir it up, and you have the little screen plunger. I was trying to plunge it down, and it just wouldn't go. And I knew that it gets kind of bound up in there. It's become like a mud pack, right? So I'm pressing, and I'm lifting it up and turning it, trying to maybe to kind of free some of the water to come through. So I have one hand, on the base of this French press, and the other hand, and I'm like, I've got to have my coffee. So I just give it, just a good nudge. Coffee goes spewing like a volcano out of the spout of that thing, all over the wall, all over the stove, and all over my flesh, causing
burned your arm.
Burn my arm. Yes.
Burned your arm, and you were screaming and yelling.
You got to be kidding me. Really? So A, I don't get my coffee when I want it.
Yeah.
And B, I've got 20 minutes of mess to clean up now.
Yeah.
And C, my arm is on fire and I may need skin grafts for my pelvis.
All of a sudden, your inner thigh started to throb with, they're going to take it from my inner thigh, aren't they? They're going to
You
take it
gotta
from
be
my inner
kidding
thigh. Yeah. All right. So there's things in this world, like the fact that a 16-foot python exists, that just makes you say, oh, this isn't right.
Mm-hmm.
This shouldn't be. This is terrifying. And there's things that make you say, come on. Like, coffee spewing all over your body.
Come on.
Happens every day. And then you got to be kidding me. And I don't want to be a curmudgeon on Halloween. But if I
Why
could,
should this day be any different than any other?
But if I could. Look, I'm all about dress up. Oh. Lord knows I have a little proclivity of my own. I'm all about dressing up.
Let's go deeper, Doug.
I have no problem with folks getting dressed up. I have no problem with the fantasy of pretend, especially for kids.
For like
super fun.
Trick or treating and whatnot.
I
right?
still remember the day of putting on my Batman outfit. And man, it felt good. And I went from Bruce Wayne to being a superhero. It fuels the imagination of a kid. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fantastic. Good for us in a culture in which our kids can do make-believe and the rest of our culture cheers them on, right? Because we don't do enough of that.
No.
We do enough of standardized tests and telling people to stand in line and have exact change, right? There's enough of that kind of world out there to pressure a child. It's good for us to have a time where we can play and you can dress up and you can have some fun. But could we keep it to one day a year? That's all. Saturday, I go over to the coffee shop where we visit on occasionally on a Saturday, and I try to have a little downtime. And I don't mind. It's alive. I love children. They're sweeties. They're around. They add some volume to the to the otherwise a life that's already peaked that some of us are living. But there's got to be 50 kids in this place because the whole shopping district where the little coffee shop is having an early Halloween.
Oh, I see.
So now these kids got to get dressed up, and now you've got to do 3 days of Halloween. Saturday, and they're all dressed up today, and then again on Monday, and it just seems to me it's just too much. It's just too much. So you got to be kidding me. We got to keep this thing in the box. Keep our Halloweens in the box. Don't you think? I mean, you think I'm just being a curmudgeon?
I do think
you don't think it deserves it. You got to be kidding me that these kids are going around. That the businesses have become the houses.
Well, I think if we released a 16-foot python and a herpes monkey on the streets, that would take care of that.
Oh, and spew a little coffee out of that thing.
That's right.
Sometimes the thing that's your tormentor is your solution.
There you go.
All right, so there's things in this world that make you say cripes and come on, and you've got to be kidding me. But we have choices to make. We don't have to just complain about it. No. We can do something about it. We can make beauty out of ashes. We can make good things that come out of that collective cry.
Sure.
So when you feel yourself complaining, when you feel yourself crying, when you feel yourself recognizing that things in this world are not the way they're supposed to, let that call you, let that push you, let that motivate you to be the kind of person who does something about it.
Yes.
Not with another refrain of complaint.
Nope.
But with a right on.
That's
How do you
right.
turn that cripes, come on, you got to be kidding me, into a right on? Well, folks, stick around for the right on this hour. I think you'll be surprised.
Oh, okay.
How one of those is also the right on this week. Okay. So stick with us. Hey, we're going to be joined by Scott Poole here after the hour, the author of Monsters in America.
Yeah.
We're going to talk zombies and vampires and Loch Ness monsters.
Deer-eating snakes.
And all kinds of things. Doug Badger Radio on AM 950 and DougBadgerRadio.com.
Live free, herpes monkey.
Hard-hitting interviews, news-making guests, and incisive analysis. It's on Meet the Press this Sunday. We invite you to tune in this week.